Hello, hi, I'm Zanzi, and welcome back to the Health for Mzansi podcast, a no-holds-barred podcast that is proudly brought to you by Health for Mzansi. You might be wondering, who is this new voice? Yes, that's right. I am your new podcast host, Joe, and I'm so excited to walk this new health and wellness journey with you. Remember, nothing is off limits, so go ahead, spill that tea. Today, we'll be filling you in on the inside scoop of inner beauty. We are a society focused on what we see, and the proof is evident in the amount of money we spend on makeup, new clothes, trendy hairstyles, and even cosmetic procedures. Now, there is absolutely nothing wrong with wanting to look good and presentable. However, we cannot neglect on what is going on internally. Like, how are you feeling? Are you feeding your body the necessary nutrients it needs? And are you moving around to get those steps in? These might sound like simple questions, but let it be a reminder that we can only look as good as we feel. What do you think?
Right, so inner beauty is allowing your confidence to shine, your kindness to flow, and your self-love to lead by example. Beauty is being unapologetically you.
Hi Joe, I think inner beauty is ultimately internal makeup. It's the way you carry yourself, your mannerisms, and how you approachable you are as a person. I feel like you can have all the beauty and external beauty, but if you don't have that confidence and if you don't know what you stand for, I feel like you are less attractive. I think the way you carry yourself, your confidence as well as how you come across to people is what makes you beautiful.
Today we are joined by Claudia Van Schalkwyk, and she is an holistic transformation coach. She takes an holistic approach to health and wellness and has developed methods and techniques to help individuals be the absolute best versions of themselves. Claudia, welcome to the Health for Mzansi podcast.
Thank you. It's so good to be here.
Thank you. And what an important theme and topic to speak about.
Oh, most important. I think this is one of the most neglected parts because we're always so focused on the outside.
Definitely, because that is what people see first, which brings me to the question. Even though inner beauty is something that is skin deep and not necessarily tangible, something that we can see straight away, for example, you can see muscle definition if you've been in the gym. But I still think inner beauty is something that we can recognize, something that we can acknowledge. So what would you define as inner beauty?
It's like that force, that force of character that takes complete control. That person that you see with that beautiful smile, but sometimes you just like, oh, she's beautiful. It's the kindness, it's the compassion. It's the character of the person that really plays a role when it comes to the inner beauty. Absolutely nothing to do with the person that you see from the outside. It is that person that walks into that room, gives that one smile, and you fall in love. Everyone can see it, you can feel it. You can feel how beautiful that person is from the inside out. And that comes from a character. And you can't put on makeup. You can't put a face on for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You really have to do the introspection. You have to do the inner work to get that developed and get that cultivated on a daily basis. It takes work, but most people don't want to go there. They step out of home in the morning and they put on that face. The hardest part is you can put on the most beautiful face, but people can see right through it.
That's correct. And speaking about work and speaking about every day cultivating it and maintaining this, what are we working on when we work for our inner beauty or for our inner wellness? What are those aspects that we have to work on?
Well, we have to incorporate it on a daily basis. I always speak this and I always preach this and I will always say this. Consistency is key in whatever healthy habit you want to develop in your life. So to enhance this inner beauty, listen, darling, for me, sleep is important. My kids know, my husband knows, everyone knows. The minute my door closes in the evening, I am this like, that's it. You don't enter mommy's room because I need to be the best version of myself the next day. And that version comes from being completely fulfilled. I can't give from an empty cup. For me to give from the inner side of me, I have to sleep. Sleep is the most and the best nutrient that we can give to our bodies. If we can get 7 to 8 hours sleep every single day, we will feel patience. We will actually start cultivating a lot of patience, because do you feel sometimes when you don't have enough sleep, you're irritated?
Oh, yes.
You sometimes answer someone very short. You just feel like you drank a whole bottle of whiskey. You know, that feeling of, I can't deal with this. And sleep is, I would say, if you can get sleep in, it will automatically make you such a beautiful person. Your energy goes where your focus flows. We have to take control of our thoughts every day. We can control our thoughts. We can take control of any negative thoughts. So we can take captive of the negative thoughts that come into our minds. Therefore, seeing the positive in everything is important for you to cultivate inner beauty.
And that takes some practice, because in reality, right, things happen every single day. So you have to train your mind to be mentally strong, to see the positive in the daily happenings of everyday life.
Of course, that's what I preach. You know, I say the biggest muscle you will ever build in your life, the biggest muscle you will first build is your mind. To get your mind out of bed, to jump out of bed, what do you have to train is your mind. You know what I mean? So that biggest muscle is your mind. And then, of course, you have to be unapologetic about being selfish. You have to put yourself first. If you want to cultivate this inner beauty, if you want to cultivate the most beautiful person, you have to practice self-love. Because if you don't practice self-love, you will not feel worthy. And once we don't feel worthy, we cannot contribute to our community, because we're feeling worthless. So it's so important that we spend time with practicing self-love by making time for yourself.
That's
exercise,
right.
Sleep, eat healthy. A healthy person, we transmute healthy habits. So once you are healthy, your qualities comes out naturally. You don't even have to think about it. You know, you walk around with grace and elegance, and that inner beauty just comes from someone that values himself.
Yeah.
You know, when you come into a room and you just have that beauty upon you, that is when you have been practicing healthy habits every single day, and it comes naturally.
Definitely. What you're saying now, it's just making me think that what we practice when we are alone and in our quiet time, I think it shows when you put yourself out there with other people. It shows, it comes to the fore. Does that make sense?
Yes. Obnoxious, arrogant, and a mean spirit, that person is so unattractive. It doesn't matter how beautiful that person is from the outside. If their spirit is not beautiful, you can feel it.
It shows. Yes. Oh, yes.
You don't want to be in that environment of a toxic person, because it's toxic.
Claudia, now, have you ever come into contact with someone that in terms of outer beauty, they tick all the boxes? They're doing the gymming, they're looking after themselves, and they're dressed to the T, but they really just internally, they're not such a nice person.
Oh, of course. You know what? Can I be very honest with you and extremely authentic here? I was that person. 10 years ago, before I changed my life and transformed my life, I was that person where from the outside, I was beautiful. You would not think that this woman would say anything negative or anything bad. But deep inside, I was broken. I always seeked validation. I wanted more, until I changed my character and until I received a love from God that I didn't receive from anyone else. And that naturally started changing me, because you know what happened to me? I realized my worth. I realized that I am wonderfully and fearfully and beautifully made, created by God. And when I started believing the truth, that is when I started changing. So yes, to answer your question, there's a lot of women and there's a lot of us that's walking around wanting to fulfill the outside. But if we are not prepared to do the inner work, if we are not prepared to become connected with the spirit, there is absolutely, then we will never be able to achieve the goals and the desires of their heart, which I would say that's unspeakable joy that comes when you start cultivating.
Definitely. And no one can give you that. And once you have it, no one can take it away.
Of course, no one. It's such a beautiful thing to have,
Yeah.
to feel that contentment and that peace within yourself.
Definitely. And Claudia, what would you say if, someone's going to be listening to this podcast and listening to this conversation, and if all they've been doing for all these years is just focusing on the outer appearance and what people see and what they put out there, but they want to make that shift and they realize, you know what, I'm not so beautiful inside. I don't feel positive about my life. It might look like I have everything together, but actually when I go back home and when no one sees me, I'm actually just a very sad person. I binge eat. I don't think anything about myself. What are the first steps? What can you do to change that situation around?
I think it's important for people to understand that we are 6-dimensional. We are humans. We cannot just heal one part of the body. We need to take an holistic approach. If you want to transform your life, you have to look for a program or mentor that will be able to take an holistic approach, right? Because people often use spiritual bypassing as a shield, as a type of defense mechanism. They don't want to go there. They rather don't want to work through the emotions and through the trauma that happened in our lives. So we simply dismiss it and we carry on with life as if it's going to go away. But the matter of fact is, and the truth is that our mind is who we are. Our soul, our personality, our thoughts, our intellect, our feelings is what makes up our mind. If we don't transform through the renewal of the mind, we will always be conformed through this worldly system.
Yeah.
So what we need to do is we need to renew our mind. We need to understand that I have to change the neuron patterns that I have been taught over the years. Now I have to systematically start changing that. And I have to say this to listeners, that it takes time. It takes at least 21 days for you to restructure your brain. You cannot do this in one day. It takes more little tasks that you need to do every single day that will take you to the transformation of 21 days. And once you get to 21 days, you cannot really stop there. You need to then consistently go and water that seed. And you know what I say? I always say weed grows. You don't have to water it, it just grows. So what we have to do is we have to, as people, need to teach ourselves how to take out the negative thoughts out of our mind, how to program ourselves. So there is tasks or there's protocols that we have to do or that we can do to do that, like meditations. Meditation and journaling on a daily basis is how we get rid of the trauma. That is how we get rid of the negative thoughts in our minds on a daily basis. And we literally take it out and we remove it and we replace it with something healthy, with healthy thoughts that is good, that is pure, that is honorable, thoughts that we would love to think about. So it's almost like you have to be your own neuron surgeon. You know what?
Yeah, you have to just transform your entire brain.
Yes. And this takes work. And some people are just not prepared to do the work. They are just not prepared. They live life unconsciously. People walk around and they're not conscious about their feelings, about what they eat, just because they are hungry. Eating is also such a spiritual ritual. When you eat, you're filling up the temple of God. It's fuel for your body, And you need to become conscious. It's about conscious living. And once we make that shift from an unconscious lifestyle to a conscious lifestyle, that, my friend, transform and renew the mind. And you are no longer conformed to this world, but you then conform to the character of God. You then become patient, you become goodness, you become compassionate, and it flows from the body.
Claudia, I think you just shared so much wisdom now. And what I'm taking from that is that when you make that decision to move intentionally in your life, it's like a ripple effect. Everything else changes. How you eat changes. How you view yourself changes. It's just a ripple effect.
We have to understand that the outer part is just what we see. They say, you know what they say? Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, right? It's you who holds the beauty. You need to know truly, I am wonderfully made. I am beautiful. And once you believe that system, it becomes you. And then you will have the power. We know people always say, oh, we're praying for miracles and miracles. You are the miracle.
Yes.
You have the power within you to create, the destiny that you want to create for yourself.
Definitely. The more we're speaking, and you just mentioned it now, I think the key to inner beauty is realizing that the beauty is already within you. And that's inner beauty. And you move with that conscious knowing and with that intention.
So true.
Yeah. So
beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
When I went to Bali a few years ago, there was this beautiful song that they played for me that said, "You bountiful, you beautiful, you blissful, I am, I am." And I came back with that song and I sang it to myself every single day in the mirror. And affirmations is a powerful tool for you to cultivate the inner beauty and the truths about yourself. It is what we believe about ourselves. But it all boils down to, that we have been created so beautiful and so powerful. We just have to believe it.
Definitely. It has to be our revelation and realization. But also, Claudia, from an holistic practitioner's point of view, we spoke a lot about, how you get that inner beauty and just also working with outer beauty and with exercise and with gymming. Which would you say is harder to maintain, or is it just two totally different aspects? Would it be the outer or the inner beauty?
Honestly, I think both.
Yeah, that's true. Both takes dedication, both takes commitment, and both takes hard work.
Yeah, I love training. I'm up at 4 a.m. in the morning. My life is hectic with boys and everything.
Oh my word, how do you do it?
I do it now. This is how I do it. I do it because I have a purpose. So I know my purpose I have in life. The question is, what is most difficult, the inner or the outer? Once you have a purpose and once you are in alignment with your purpose, both becomes easy, if you know what I mean.
Yes,
so then everything starts falling into place. And once you work in alignment with those things, nothing is really hard work anymore. Because now you walk in alignment to your purpose and why you are predestined to be on earth. You know what I mean? So if you, first of all, you have to find who Claudia is. Find her first. Understand why she was created, why she was here, what is your purpose. Once you've done the entire transformation, you will then see, or you will then find that both is not as difficult as you thought, because then it becomes a lifestyle. Because once it becomes a lifestyle, it becomes easy. Mm-hmm. And so to answer your questions, when you find your purpose, both becomes easy.
Because it's part of you. You are doing what you're meant to be doing.
Naturally flows. It authentically comes from you. You speak like you can hear me speak with passion. You can hear me. This is what I've been created to do. I've been created to speak wellness and how to transform people. So everything else falls in place with that. And once you find it, it becomes easier. So therefore, people think, oh, it's so difficult to run your own business, marketing, and, sitting in front of the camera and doing this and doing that. But once you speak from a place of passion, it becomes easier. So you just have to find yourself, and then everything else will fall into place.
Thank you for joining this week's episode of the Health for Mzansi's podcast. For more on our inner beauty chat, check out healthformzansi.co.za. If you are in a medical jam or just curious about some health and wellness trends, you can send an email to hello@healthformzansi.co.za or send an SOS to 076 132 0454. And that was it for episode 86, the inside scoop on inner beauty. I hope you learned as much as I did. Remember, there's no quick fix to cultivating or maintaining inner beauty. It might seem and feel long and never ending, but it sure is a beautiful journey.